Our new sponsor, Better, is a fast-growing daily fantasy sports app. When you sign up using promo code PLAYBOOK in all caps, you receive a free $10 and a 100% deposit match up to $25.
All right. Welcome to the NBA Hangout presented by Playbook Sports. I'm your host, Brandon. With me, as always, is Dave. Dave, how are you?
I'm all right, man. How are you? How was your holidays?
Oh, yeah, it's holiday season. I had a good holidays, refreshed. We haven't been here for a while. Christmas basketball was good. There's a lot of good things happening over the last 2 weeks. How was your holidays? How was everything?
Yeah, it was pretty solid, I think my father may have been a grizzly bear because when it comes to winter, all I want to do is hibernate. Just want to gorge myself all summer long and then sleep all winter long.
Yes, I would love to do that too. Winter is not the most fun. not the most fun. But we are in pre-award season, we can call it. We're about almost halfway through, three-quarters, a third of the way through the NBA season. So we have some awards starting to shape out, some contenders for these awards to start to form. I guess we can go through all of those. And the AD rumors are persistent. It seems like those things that's not dying away. Other trade rumors have died away, like the Jaw stuff from earlier in the year, the LaMelo stuff from earlier in the year. That stuff has kind of died down, but the AD one seems to be the one that has been the most persistent. So we can get into all that stuff today. I guess starting with the MVP stuff, because that is the award that players really want to get. So MVP, the top 5 in the MVP ladder currently is Jokic, Shea, Luka, Jaylen Brunson, Victor Wembanyama at 5. You have Cade at 6 and Jaylen Brown at 7. With those top 7, I stopped at Jaylen Brown. I think that really gives us a good picture of what the MVP race should look like this year. Of those 7, what are your thoughts on how this ladder is shaking out so far? And will Jokic play enough to stay in this?
So Jokic is a wild card. He's just one of those guys where they said they'd reevaluate it in 4 weeks. They didn't say it would be 4 weeks.
Yeah.
He's also one of those guys where it could be like 2.5, and he's like, I'm fine, let's go. Mm-hmm. Right. But it is one of those injuries where it could be 6, and he's just completely disqualified, even though he might be putting up some of the best numbers of his career, and he's already a 2-time MVP. Like, he's disqualified. Just that's it, right? You can't be all NBA. You can't be MVP. You can't. You just get nothing, right? And it's pretty unfortunate. It's really unfortunate for him and for us, the fans. It's mostly just unfortunate that we don't get to watch him because, like there are guys on this list where they're really good players and they put up really good numbers, but it's watching Jokic is completely different, right?
Yeah,
he does things with the basketball that these other guys don't, and that's what's special about him.
Yeah, Jokic is just in a complete other territory when it comes to stats and what he does for his team on the offensive end specifically. Probably this might be the best offensive run we've seen from a player ever. These last 5 to 6 years. It's up in that peak is goes up there with anybody, right? Currently, he's averaging basically 29.6 points, so 30 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists on great efficiency. Averaging a triple-double and leading his team to, I think when he went out, they're the second best team in the West. Now, the third best team because Wembanyama's team, the Spurs, has caught up to them. But was also on this list we can talk about too, but faces the similar issues with is he going to play enough games? It is a shame how this cap has went. I know it was a thing before where the NBA trying to get players to play more. Fans were kind of getting frustrated with players sitting out of games back to backs. You pay to see them at the arena and you go there and then they're marked out a couple hours before the game, and the vibe's not the same when you go to the game when some of these stars aren't playing. So I understand why they put that cap in to motivate these players to play more games, but at the same time I don't think a cap was as necessary, as heavily enforced as needed. The voters kind of reflected your durability anyway. If you weren't a durable player, they weren't really voting you in. I don't think anybody who played under 58 games won an award, or if they did, it was very, 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 very rare for you to win that award. So putting in this hard rule, while it meant to do good, might have done a little bit more harm in the end.
Yeah, especially to the folks who love like the history of the game, right? And they very much are concerned with like the history books and all these kind of things. And you'll look, so say Jokic just misses it by one game, and he plays 64 games this year, and he puts up the numbers that he's putting up, right? These could be the best numbers of his career, and you'll see like all NBA, all NBA, all NBA MVP, all NBA MVP, all NBA. Nothing. Best numbers of his career.
Yeah.
All NBA, all NBA, MVP, yada yada.
Yeah.
And people will look in like 20 years' time, and they'll be like, "This Nikolai Jokic guy, like, what happened this year? Like, why? Oh, he missed it by one game because his teammate accidentally fell on his leg."
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the bogus thing.
Yeah.
Something that the Ringer's Zach Lowe championed a lot was like,
so weird hearing he's on the Ringer. It's still
I know, right? You like that drop too, like excited where he came from.
Clean.
So Zach Lowe has been a proponent of the idea that rule doesn't affect third team All NBA, right? So if you miss the 65 game mark, voters can still vote you in, but only to third team. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, if you were still doing it position by position and not positionless, which it has become, but there's no way Jokic isn't a top 3 center in the West,
right?
Or in the NBA. Sorry, in the NBA. Yeah. So even if he plays 55 games, right? So he deserves an All NBA,
a nod, for that award,
but,
100%.
Yeah, the rule is the rule.
Yeah, the rule is the rule. So do you foresee him missing that cap then, and not being able to be in this conversation when it comes down to it, when we hit March, April time?
So I think the biggest issue for Jokic's MVP case wasn't so much what he was doing. I think it was more the historic run that the Thunder are, because Shea's work on the Thunder is still as good as it was last year. Could be better. I mean, he hasn't even had to play a lot of fourth quarters, and he's putting up the same numbers as last year. They're winning so many games. If they win, 70 games, even despite what Jokic did, it was going to be a Shea MVP, in my opinion. Which, the hip thing is to give every MVP two and then move on to the next guy. So move on to next year put your money on Luka.
Cade is going to be in there.
Cade's coming, right?
Luka.
Jason Tatum will be back though, so Jaylen Brown will just be like, I don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah, and the thing with Shea, it's as you mentioned, he's sat out a lot of these like fourth quarters, but he's averaging relatively the same numbers. But his efficiency has gone up. He's shooting better from 2-point percentage. He's shooting better from 3. He's getting better at what he was already doing. And they have an 18-point net, and they have an 18 net rating when he's on the court. His on-offs are still really, really, really strong. And you can see it now a little more evident this year when they're playing the Spurs and some of those tougher games when he would leave the court, the team just didn't function as the way as it should. Maybe even in years past. Like last year, I think Jalen Williams was able to carry the load with Chet a little bit better. Chet has looked better this year offensively, but I think they still need like that wing guard player to kind of initiate some of these stuff. And Jalen just hasn't, he was hurt to start the year. He's still getting into his groove and finding his fit. He had some guys pop off with AJ Mitchell on OKC to kind of carry the load. So having reintegrating Jalen Williams into that fold has been a little trickier, I think, than they anticipated, which, came at a time when they're playing a team where they struggle against the Spurs and trying to figure all that type of stuff out. So I think Shea's impact may be a little bit heightened this year than it was in the past, just based on like the injury stuff that's gone on with the Thunder, which I think leaves him as a front runner for this award yet again. We move down to 3. Let's go like 3, 4, and 5 when you have Luka, Brunson, and Wemby. And I want to throw Jaylen Brown into that conversation too, because I honestly think like entering into this year, we did not see Boston Celtics being the third best team in the East. Like they're very much, this is very much like a write-off season for them. We're anticipating them to be maybe a play-in team. And then next year they'll be back in the fold with Tatum healthy and whatever they put together with whatever pieces they move. But they fully have been a solid team. Shout out to Missoula. That Psycho has this team running, doing whatever it can to win games. They play hard every game. Their defense has been good. Offenses look good. Jaylen Brown has looked amazing. His last 14 games, he's averaged 33 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 52% from the field, 40% from 3, 35 minutes a game. Just incredible stuff from Jaylen Brown to really lead this team. There's questions after his Finals MVP if he really deserved that Finals MVP, and I think this season he's showing I deserved it. I deserved it. I am that guy. I can be a number one on a team. And I think the thing that's really impressing me with him is the assists. I've always looked at him as not the greatest playmaker, like maybe a 3 assist guy. He can make some, but he's up to 6, and I think that's a real shout out to his work on that end of the court to just be an all around player. And not only that, he's doing it on the defensive end as well. He called out Jalen Brunson and I guess Shea, which is weird, with the because he felt as if he should have won the player of the month award for his conference for December. But he can't win it for the West, so I don't know why.
Why you'd be mad at Shea?
Why you'd be mad at Shea? But you got Jalen Brunson and Shea saying that he had a better month than both those guys, and it's hard to argue not against that. And following that up, he goes out against Kawhi, who as well has had a tremendous stretch as well, averaging close to 40 points in his last 6 games. Shuts him down completely and scores 50, just as a mark of like I am that guy. So I think, as a dark horse contender for this award, I think Jaylen Brown should be in your top 3, your top 5 here.
And I think if he keeps this, here's the challenge with Boston. So I'm a big Jaylen Brown fan, more as a person than a player. For the longest time, as a person more than a player, just because he's this really bright guy who like is kind of this like deep thinker about a lot of stuff. And if you ever catch him in like interviews, especially interviews not about basketball, it's pretty fascinating stuff. And I just think he's kind of like a cool guy that I always found very interesting. I would discount him generally because of the contract. We do this with players, especially in the cap era, where a guy gets a big contract, and for a year, Jalen's was the biggest on record.
Right.
And he had the Finals MVP, but you ask yourself, is he this guy? But Jalen's a smart basketball player, right? And he always knew that like offensively, Tatum's a little bit sharper than him, right? There's a little bit more skill, a little bit more size, feed
Game's
him.
A little prettier.
Game's a little prettier, right? Be his release valve. Probably one reason his assists have gone up is because he's the primary offensive like guy. So as teams come to like double him or at least compress on him, he has more space to operate as a facilitator. Whereas if Jason Tatum was tossing him the ball in that situation, his job was to get it up or move it one more to Derek White, right? So the biggest thing that impresses me about Brown is the ability to do what's needed for his team. And I guess he just didn't need to be the best player outside of that one Finals.
Exactly. But that leads to that point. It's like he needed to be the best player in that final series, and he was. I think that's exactly I think you nailed it right on the head there when it comes to Jaylen Brown. It's like, sometimes when you have like these 2-wing pairings, it takes one of them to take a step back. Like I remember when
Wade had to take a step back on LeBron.
Exactly. Yeah. When LeBron joined that first year in 2011, it was a tussle between those two, and it ended up costing them a championship because I guess LeBron didn't feel as comfortable being a number 2 because Wade was a better player during that series, but it took Wade taking a step back to, okay, LeBron, this is your team. You run it. I'll fill in the gaps to where you need me to. If you need me to score 30 today, I'll score 30 today. If you just need me to be the secondary guy, I'll be the secondary guy. And that's when they really start to click. I think Jaylen must have recognized that early, that for us to function as a duo, Jaylen Jason Tatum has to be the lead guy, and then I just got to fill in where needed to be, whether it be guarding other team's best perimeter player, whether it be just scoring and relief buckets when I need to, whatever it may be, I'll do that, and I'll help us get a championship.
Yeah, and it's that's a very, I would say, uncommon trait amongst professional athletes in general, right? Like, you grow up, you're the best player on your Pee Wee team. You grow up and you're the best player on your middle school team, then your high school team, then your college team, and now you're in the NBA and you've been the best your whole life. It's hard to be like, oh, actually, if I take a step back, we'll be better overall.
We'll be better overall.
You've pushed yourself so hard for so long to be the best, to only reach the top league and realize I'm not the best here, or I don't have to be the best.
I don't have to be the best to win here. Yeah. 100%. There's a player talking about that recently with who was I think it was Rich Paul was talking about it when it came to Cam Reddish. He was one of the best players coming out. He was the best player in his high school class. He went to Duke. He then became the third best player on that team, and that kind of shook his confidence. And then going to the NBA, another jump where you have all these players that are better than you or at your level at least. I think that just shook his confidence and just kind of took him out of it mentally. And it is a hard thing. I think. Who is it? Coach now, JJ Redick. When he was coming out of Duke, he was a phenomenon out of Duke. But he recognized right away that they asked him, like, what do you think you're going to carry this over into the NBA? But he knew right away, no, I'm going to be a role player. Like, I'm going to end up being, I'm probably going to be one of the role guys. Like, I'm not going to be a star player. But having that self-recognition can, like, push you so much further into your NBA career if you're able to do that. And then you have moments like this when you're called upon and needed to. You're able to do both. You're able to be the star guy. You're able to be the role guy, depending where it is. Derek White, he comes from the Spurs. The Spurs, he's strictly a role guy. He comes over to Boston, and he becomes a guy who's more of a focal point. They need him to do more scoring. They need him to do more passing on that team, and even when Jason Tatum there, and he's able to fill that role. But that just being a role guy, understanding where you can affect games, can really, really push you far in this league.
Absolutely, and I don't think a lot of guys want to hear that, though, right?
No,
like
100%.
Like, you get to the NBA and somebody tells you you're going to be a role player. You worry about your earnings, right? Like, you have the potential as a professional athlete to make, multi-generational wealth for you and your family. You don't want to hear somebody tell you, like, you're going to cap out and you're going to be a role player, and that's the best you're going to do, and the most you'll ever earn is role player money and all this kind of stuff. Like, look at Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga could probably be an elite role player or the Warriors. He just doesn't want to. He wants more. He wants more money. He wants more ability to impact. And it's caused this whole thing, right? Yep.
Yeah, it's fair. Like, you want to show your talent. You want to show, I am a good player. I want to be able to showcase this. Like, I want to be able to show this at some point. It's a tricky thing. With the MVP ladder here. So we talk about Jaylen Brown, talked about Jokic, Shea. The Luka and Brunson thing is kind of interesting to me because Luka's averaging absurd numbers. He's averaging 33, 8 and 9. But the Lakers don't feel like as impactful of a team as they should be. Especially since Austin Reeves went down. Once Austin Reeves went down, their effectiveness hasn't been nearly the same as a team. And I'm just wondering, like, is Luka, we know, is an perennial all NBA player. We know he's one of the best players in the league. But in terms of winning a championship, in terms of bringing you a steady success like a Shea or like a Jokic, is he in that category with those guys, or is he now just a tier below that?
I think he is, mostly because of that run that he did in Dallas to get them all the way to the finals. And he was like beat up and just putting up crazy numbers, and the Dallas team just wasn't a full championship team. So they were there off the back of Luka Doncic. Is he like a perfect two-way player? No. But I think what's affecting them more is just the Lakers and the Lakers situation of, we're never going to tank, and we're always going to trade up for guys, right? And that's going to cost us depth and role players and picks and all these things, right? Where, you lose you lose Austin Reeves and you have no scoring punch behind him, right? Like the Lakers offense to start the year was like a top 5, top 10 offense. In December, it's been like almost like a 15 to 20, right? Mm-hmm. So, LeBron's not that same level of scorer that he once was. And he's also he's going to save himself for the playoffs. He knows what his job is at this point. So I think what's really affecting the Lakers is a significant lack of proper role players, proper depth. They need some big, rangy defenders on the wing. They need some scorers. Mm-hmm. And, it'll be tough. I don't know how they pull it off, but if they can, I don't suspect the Lakers and Luka will win MVP and go far in the playoffs this year. But next year,
20th offense in the last 2 weeks, according to Clean in the Past. It just hasn't been great. And 20th offense, and then defensive end, 28th defense. So the impact there is just like you said, maybe it's not so much to do with Luka, but the team built around it as well. You're not getting much from these role guys, and you're using Luka and you're using Austin Reeves and LeBron to a certain extent to kind of fill all those gaps. But I guess the other knock I would give to Luka is his efficiency is far less than which, like, if I was to ask you who's a better 3-point shooter, who would you say, Shea or Luka?
Well, because you're asking that question, it's
you know the answer,
and we know that his efficiencies have gone up this year. But
by how much?
If it's the last shot in a game, I'd rather Luka take it. Which is a crazy thing to say.
I think I still go
crazy
Shea.
Thing to say.
Shea's shooting 10 percentage points better than Luka from 3. I mean, to be fair, it's volume. Like Luka shoots 10. Shea and Jokic shoot about 5. So he's shooting double, but should he be shooting double? I don't know. Maybe shooting 30%. But that's a lot to do with it too. 2-point percentage is lower than those guys. His efficiency, it reminds me sort of kind of like Trey, where like they can score they can score from all places of the court, but their efficiency might not be the best, but they'll hit the crazy ones or the ones that other players just can't hit, which makes them valuable in other ways. But I think that's my only thing with Luka would be his defense is never going to be what we want it to be. That's just not, like, we can't expect that from Luka.
It's better this year.
It's at times, but in the last couple of weeks,
Luka, he can get around a little bit.
He can move. He can move. It needs to be more like Harden in those Houston years, where it was like I can put him on a post player and I could survive and switch. It doesn't feel like it's at that level yet, but it's okay. It's okay. And then when we look at Victor, I guess is his main issue. Like, team success is in his favor. They have the second best team in the Western Conference right now. He's averaging 24, 11, and 3 blocks. But team success is in his favor. The one thing not in his favor is games played. I don't know if he's going to make the cap to be able to actually win this award or be in contention for this award this year.
So this was the fear about Victor when he came into the draft, would be his like durability. And they spent a long time addressing durability concerns. Like Victor knew for a long time he was going to be a ball player and he was going to come to the NBA. And so I remember during like the draft stuff, them talking about him doing very specific like workouts, like fingertip workouts kind of thing, so that he wouldn't strain a finger and stuff with his like
with his feet,
feet and ankles and everything, right? Like all these things to try and make sure that he stays healthy. But he's so big. The guys who are so big rarely can play a full season. And we go back to that 65 game rule. It could be the tragedy of Victor's whole career is that one rule. How many seasons is he actually going to play 65? He's a little bit like AD in that sense, but I don't know. You trust him more, kind of thing.
Yeah, at this stage for sure. I think I trust him.
Yeah, you still trust his health more. Yeah.
Much more. I don't know how much AD's really I don't care is like strong, but I don't know how much how motivated he is to stay healthy this year. I know he always looks like he really does want to like get out there, and maybe sometimes he gets injured more because he should be resting longer and he just comes back a little earlier than he should. But I feel like Victor is a guy that you have to really tell, no, you can't play. Message you. Yeah, like I feel like it's a harder stance for him than I think AD is, at least at this stage in their careers. And the last guy there is Brunson, who, leading the second best team in the East. They're only ahead of Boston by half a game, though. That's the thing with this Jaylen Brown thing. They are out of the top seed of the East by 3 games. That's not a lot. We have lots of games left. That's not a lot.
Yeah. And they were supposed to be like a top 5 pick team.
Yes, they're supposed to be.
That's what everybody was saying about Boston. It was like,
so if they're able to
5 worst,
if they're able to leapfrog New York, which they're half a game behind, if they're able to make it a push for the first seed, I really do think Jaylen Brown has a strong chance here. To at least, if not steal it away from Shea or Jokic, to at least have voters think about it, maybe steal a couple votes.
So I think the thing that's working against Brown is, actually the best thing for Boston. And it's that it looks like Jason Tatum will play this year. And when he comes back, and if he comes back and he's like, I don't expect him to be, there's always, playing yourself into game shape. You haven't played for a year, you're not going to have that same touch and feel in the game. You're not going to have that same explosiveness, but you're still the guy, right? And is that going to affect Brown? Like, is he going to go back to what he was, or is he going to still see this as, this is what the team needs me to do, and I'm here to do it?
Yeah,
right? Because if he does that, if he does that, and if for whatever reason, Oklahoma tailspins and only wins like 62 games, there's something to talk about, right? Absolutely. Yeah, I think right now, Shea should be more worried about Jaylen Brown than Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, because I don't think Jokic is going to make that. I think they're going to be super cautious with him and just make sure that he's okay for playoff time. And if they're a decent like top 6-5 seed, and then by the time Jokic is ready to play, I think they make a run anyways. So I don't think they're super worried about playoff seeding that much.
You know what's interesting about the list? No Giannis.
That's, I guess,
Giannis has been like a top 4 MVP like vote getter for the last 8 years.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's because he missed a month, so I don't know if he already like took himself out of the race by games played, but still, like that is interesting because he usually, no matter where his team is ranked, they usually just throw him in there just off of raw stats. But you can't ignore the impact that he has on the court, and even the games that he's come back in. Game winner, ridiculous stats first couple games back. Game winner, windmill dunk to annoy
to
annoy the Bulls. So he has been impactful in his time back. Like, he's still an elite top 5, top 3, top 4 player in the NBA. Like, that is no question. Yeah, it is a shock. So it's either they don't anticipate him fulfilling those games, or they're just ignoring Milwaukee completely this year until he decides to ask out.
Yeah, because they're not going to trade him unless he asks.
No, they won't. That's,
and he's try to do everything but ask.
It's like, my agent has done it. My agent is talking to teams. I haven't said anything, though. He's just not a bad guy, which is, fair to him. He doesn't want to be the bad guy to a city which has loved him and which he's loved for 10 plus years. So I understand, but at some point you got to be a little selfish, just a little.
You got to be, sometimes you got to do it yourself. Pull the Band-Aid, right?
Yeah. Talk to James Harden. Talk to Jimmy Butler. They'll get you going.
It's like the NBA is a bunch of relationships, right? And in a way, it's like having your friend come in to break up with your girlfriend.
Can you just do this for me?
Can you be the bad guy here? Yeah. I still want to be friends.
No, it's exactly like that with when it comes to Giannis. Another I guess moving on, I think that's good on MVP. But another award that Giannis usually is a perennial top 3 guy for is Defensive Player of the Year, and he's not on this list at all either. So looking at this is by the sports books. You have Chet at number 1, best odds to win Defensive Player of the Year at this point. You have Bam at number 2, Amon Thompson at number 3, Gobert at 4, and Mobley, your reigning Defensive Player of the Year, at 5. Any shocks with that top 5? Anyone that should be more highly considered who isn't on that list?
So the top 5 does make good sense. Like once again, like SGA with MVP. If the team is historic and Chet's putting up defensive lines like that, he'll probably win the award.
Yeah, like the thing with OKC is they have, again, their defense is number 1, and they're number 1 by a large margin. Like they took a little bit of a slip in the last 2 weeks, but they still would be number 1, even with that slip. They're so far, like the number 2 team is closer to the number 28th team than they are, or like the number 2015 than they are number 1 team.
I will talk as a homer and suggest that Scotty Barnes should be a lot closer to that top 5. Where is he on the list? Is he on the list?
I believe he was in, when I was looking, he was 8th. He was 8th on the list by the sports books. Okay,
so he's been absolutely next level for the Raptors this year. If you don't watch the games, it's always hard to tell with defensive guys if you don't watch the games, right? You hear all these Canadians being like, "Oh, Scotty Barnes, he's our franchise," but he's the second scorer, he's the connector guy, he's the do everything guy. That's a weird franchise guy to have. It's normally a superstar scorer. But if you watch the games and you watch his effect and his he just busts up everything. And then who were they playing the other day? Was it Golden State, where he had to play center in overtime? And he pulled down absolutely every board. And he ended with 25 boards.
He had
the guy's only 6'7".
Yeah, no, he has been doing some quite incredible things on that end of the court, and in general for the Raptors to be one of the better teams in the East is based on what Scotty has been doing while RJ has been out. Because when RJ was in, they were really rolling, but when RJ was out, there had to be a guy to kind of step up. They took some lumps, went down a little bit, but they picked it back up, and that was on the hand of Scotty Barnes primarily. If I was to, I don't know if Mobley should be on this list. To be
not this year?
The reigning,
so?
Yeah, he is the reigning defensive player of the year, but their defense hasn't been nearly hasn't been as impactful as it was in previous years. Like when I look at the top defenses currently right now, like they're in the middle of the pack, like they're 12th, 13th, like they're average-ish, a little bit better than average on defense. They're not winning games in the same fashion that they were last year. And I think Mobley's had a bit of a down year this year than he has in the past as well. I don't know if his is as warranted. I think he's on that list based off name recognition, I think, because he won it last year and stuff like that.
And once again, if you're not watching every game, you don't know the defensive impact that these guys are having, right? So if you're a voter, if you're a sports book, for example, you're going with name recognition because that's who people are going to think about, right? Like if you haven't been watching the Cavaliers a lot because they're just not super fun this year, you don't necessarily know that maybe Mobley's not at the same level that he was last year. The one, Bam at number 2, it's got me thinking about the Heat right now. Because we talked about Coach of the Year in episodes past. Yeah. And I wanted it to be Spoelstra, but
this happens every year. There's always a run that the Heat have, and it's like, oh, Spo can get it, and then they go on a losing streak. It's like, oh, they're not going to win it.
But look at how we're talking about OKC, right? It's all about the success metrics. If the Heat were 5 games better than they are right now, just 5 games, right? Like Bam would probably have a higher shot.
Would be a lot.
Would have a higher shot.
Bam,
they just need a run of form.
Yeah. Like they just rattled off 4 in a row, and then they lost to who was it? They lost to Minnesota last night, but they had like they're finding themselves. Yeah, they're finding themselves the last couple games, and then we'll see if they bounce back today against the Pelicans. But they still do have the number 4 defense, number 3 defense through all of this, like through all of like their turmoil of being good, being bad, being good, being bad. The one thing that has been good has been the defense, and it's primarily when you watch the games. That's why I'm shocked that he's number 2. Like when I was playing up this list, I did not expect to see Bam here. I'm just so used to him not being recognized for these things. But again, you don't have Wemby on this list because you're not anticipating him playing enough games. You don't have Giannis on the list. You don't anticipate him playing enough games, so that kind of moves some guys that wouldn't be up here in there. And I think Bam kind of has the name recognition now to be in this. He's been in the top USA. 5 voting before. Yeah. He's on Team USA, so he's more of a familiar name when it comes to defense. And yeah, they're the top 4 defense in the league right now. So I could understand where voters are going with that. And when you watch the games too, his on-offs are just ridiculous. Like Ware has come into the starting lineup. They've played them together more and more and more, but their defense is better when Ware is not on the court still. It's still a better defense with Bam at your 5 and having Wiggins play your 4, and he's your lead guy just because of what he can do on that end of the court. Sure, when Ware's in, he's going to figure it out. He's still a young player. Ware himself has looked tremendous his last couple of weeks. It's like he's looked like the player that the potential that was expected when he was drafted is starting to show out now, but the impact on the defensive end of the court is still lacking just a bit with him there. When they're together, the rebounding has been pretty good, which has helped, I think, Bam's case rebounding wise. But just what he can do on the court, disrupt things, switch 1 through 5, truly stop pick and rolls, do all that type of stuff. It's still there. That impact is still there. The game against who was it a couple nights ago? I forget who they played a couple nights ago, but they had a real defensive masterclass between him and Ware, just locking down whatever was coming their way. So I think Bam at number 2 does make sense. It's going to take a Chet injury for Bam to actually win this thing, because I think Chet has this thing more or less locked up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Amen at number 3 though is also an interesting one for me, because Houston has been a very good team this year on both ends of the court. They have the number 3 defense as it stands currently. And they've always been a defensive team with Ime Udoka being there. That's been his focus, leading that team. Durant's been leading the charge on the offensive end, and Durant quietly has had one of his better defensive years as well. But I think the backbone to that defense is Amen Thompson for that.
He's just so fast, so athletic, and he's so long, and he's just a menace. He's just quicker than you at everything. And I mean, it's what kept him in games for a long time, and now his offense is beginning to show out as well. So I don't think Amen's going to win it this year, but I think he's got a really strong chance to win it one year. Just like I think that Dyson Daniels has a really strong chance to win it 1 year. You know.
Yeah.
And he's not on that list, which is kind of a shame. But it's also
his brother's on that list though. Amen's brother's there too, which is the Thompson twins. Just
I think Osser's on the list too.
Yeah, he was like number 9 or something like that. But he was on there too. Yeah,
he's quite good as well.
Yeah, they're both just the thing about Amen though is like you'll watch a Houston game, and then every time I watch them, it's like he'll do 2 or 3 things athletically. That's just like, how and why would you even try? Like, why did you try that and why did it work? I just don't. He does these things that I don't even know you can do with your human body, and he just does them, and it's just routine for him.
So is Amen Thompson going to be a max player?
He becomes a max player if the shooting becomes a real threat to teams. They still sag way off of him. They still daring him to shoot. He's gotten better. But he can only be a max player when that is no longer an issue. He does a lot of other things to make up for that. Great playmaker. He attacks the rim really well. His mid-range game isn't terrible, but I don't know if I can give him, especially in this form of the CBA. Maybe in the previous CBA, yeah, you can max him, but in this form of the CBA where you have so many penalties for breaking different tax levels, I don't know if you can really give him that max yet.
Do you think another team would offer him the max?
Other than Houston, yes, another team would, because he's just so raw, fun.
He's gonna end up getting it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, a question for him would be, do you want to be on a championship team, or do you want to get your max somewhere else? Because I don't think they'll be able to offer him the max on this team when you're paying Sengun, Durant, Van Vliet. I think they'll eventually move, but
yeah, they'll get off that, but yeah. There's also Jabari Smith Jr.
Jabari Smith is also a young guy that you're gonna have to pay at some point. Reed, you're gonna have to pay at some point. So I think to keep this core together, I don't know if Houston can give him a max. So it might be a question for him: does he want that max versus team success, and can he get that team success and money somewhere else?
And if you know he's going to get the money somewhere else, do you search out a sign and trade?
I don't think you can.
Like, do you try and get something back for him? Because if Utah offers him the max and it puts Houston into cap jail, like they have to seriously consider that. Like, is this guy a max player, or if we give him the max, are we damaging ourselves? Right?
Yeah.
How much tolerance do we have to pay the taxes?
Yeah. And are you giving him the max, or if you're Houston, do you just give him the max and then say we'll figure it out later? We move Jabari, we move some of these other guys, and try to make the money. You hope KD's at a point where he can take a heavy discount. Like, maybe if you must give him this max to hold your team together, maybe there's other outs you have, but I don't know if I would. Yeah, if you're like a Utah or like one of these other teams, then yeah, sure, you go for it. But I'm not sure if you're Houston, you can just do it right out the gate. You have to really sit and think about it and how it's going to affect your team.
Yeah, it's the maxes are going to get interesting in the NBA
100%
over the next decade. So it'll be interesting to see who gets them, how they're utilized, how they're traded, who ends up storing bad maxes. If you're a team with no picks but have cap space, are you just taking on max dumps with a pick, right? And just seeing it out.
Just seeing what it is. Yeah. Who knows what the future holds? This new CBA has created a huge wrinkle in a lot of teams' plans, and just had to have teams rethink the way they team build and how they deal with contracts and all this type of things, which I don't think is the worst thing. I think it's just taken there's been an adjustment period to it, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to relearn how to build teams. Not at all. Some of these guys in the rookie category might be due for one of these maxes one day, especially the number one guy there, Cooper Flag. So we have the rookie ladder that is out right now, and I think this is one of our more exciting rookie of the year conversations that we've had in maybe previous years. We have Cooper at 1, averaging 19, 6, and 4. You have Khan at number 2, averaging 19, 5, and 4. You have VJ at 3, averaging 16, 5, and 4. You have Derek Queen at 4, averaging 13, 7, and 4. And you have Cedric Coward at 5 at 14, 6, and 3. And with VJ, I think he's also perked up in the last couple of weeks with his scoring has bumped up to about 20. I think the last 4 games he's gone over 20. So his scoring can come and go based on who's available on that Philly team. Sometimes Embiid's there, sometimes Paul George there, sometimes McCain's there. So his minutes have kind of been in flux. That's why I think his scoring numbers have been up and down. Just trying to readjust and figure out roles. Also, I think a guy who might end up on one of these Defensive Player of the Year ballots eventually in VJ. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but in a couple of years, I think we'll see him. I think we'll see him on that list. There's a stat going around with guys who guard Brunson, and I think the best guy guarding Brunson right now has been VJ, this rookie. You have Davion Mitchell on there. You have all these like perennial defensive players there, and the best guy has been VJ, and he truly prides himself on that end of the court. I think similar to Cooper. Cooper also prides himself on the defensive end of the court, which is a nice thing with this draft class.
Absolutely. So VJ, much like Amen, is he's an unbelievable athlete. Did you see his his block where he blocks it twice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he gets up with the left, makes the block, and as it's like bouncing back in, he's like, "Get out of here!" Just like still in the air, just bump, bang, and it's what he's been doing since he got to the league. It's these just wow moments, and going into that draft, I liked VJ Edgecombe a lot, and part of it was like I was feeling nostalgic about Carter in Toronto, and I was just like, yeah, maybe VJ could be like this generation's Vince Carter, like this just unbelievable highlight reel kind of player that just does things that you go, whoa, like that's an out of my seat kind of play, right? That's the play that's going to lead every Instagram reel for the next week, right?
Yeah.
And he's actually delivering on that promise, which is I don't think he'll win Rookie of the Year, but golly, I like VJ. Yeah.
He makes it certainly an interesting conversation. He really reminds me of like an early D Wade, or early, like his face looks kind of like Jimmy Butler with the head when he wears the headband. But he reminds me of like a D Wade, even the way D Wade kind of came into the league, kind of raw. Just, you know, Wade's thing was that his shot. VJ has gotten his shot a little bit quicker than I think most anticipated. Like his shooting hasn't been as bad as like we thought it might be. But the Wade, when he first came into the league, was just raw, just getting to the basket, relentlessly attacking the rim, using his handle to get there and stuff like that, and being a defensive force on the other end, just being a maniac on that end of the court. And VJ kind of like reminds me of like some of those times, some of those early Wade times. Cooper, I think if we asked this question 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I might have went with Con as my favorite for Rookie of the Year. Just because of the shooting that he's been doing. He's looked like the best player on Charlotte some of these times, even when LaMelo's been there, even with Brandon Miller being there. Like, he has been efficient. He's getting his boards. He's still playmaking at a decent clip for a rookie. I think Con's had himself quite the year. I think he really poses a threat to Cooper getting that Rookie of the Year this year.
I would agree. Absolutely. And I still might have Con as my Rookie of the Year if we had to vote like right now, just because he's once again, he's a super smart player, and I like that architect. But
rare for Charlotte.
But yeah, he looks like he's been in the league for 10 years, right? Like, he looks like fully developed, Gordon Hayward, right? Like, like back in the Charlotte days. Like,
yeah, like I think the comp was like Clay coming out of the league, but I think Gordon Hayward is more of an apt thing. I think because we saw shooter, tall shooter who could defend a bit. We looked at like Clay, but I think Gordon Hayward is just as comparable to Knipple at this point.
So now Knipple's numbers are like Clay level elite as far as shooting goes. But when you thought about Clay, you thought like this is going to be like one of the NBA's greatest shooters, right? And I don't know if I'm there yet with Con, but he could certainly surprise me. I think where he's going to come up against it is just Cooper's rate of development. Cooper continues to kind of like level up every month, right? Like it's like a jump monthly. And if he keeps that up, like he's just going to be, he'll probably be the best player to come out of this draft, all said and done career wise. And yeah, he's right there for Rookie of the Year. And if he just keeps taking steps, there's going to be nothing Con can do.
Yeah. Like, talent wise, Cooper should be the one to win this one. It's just whether or not he reaches that potential by the end of this year or not. I know he has the handicap of playing point guard for like 2 months. Like, he's not a point guard, and he had to play point guard for like 2 months. And they put him at power forward, and he had 40 points, 40 points as an 18-year-old before he turned 19, one of the youngest to ever score 40. Sky's the limit for Cooper, especially for this rookie year. I think at the end of the year, he gets there and Khan stays steady as where he is right now, which is very good, which is not bad at all. He's a very good player in his rookie year.
Does Dallas get an all-star? And if it's not Cooper, who is it?
Oh, you're talking about this year. Like, what are they in the standings right now? They're
bad. They're not good.
They're they're bad, but they're 3 games out of a playing spot from the Grizzlies. Yeah, it's not like the East where you kind of have to be above 500 or be around 500 to really do something. I don't know if they get an all-star this year. And if they did get if they were to get an all-star, it would be Cooper because he's been the most reliable. AD's been in and out. We'll talk about AD a little bit later. But if they were to get an all-star, he would be Dallas's all-star, I think, this year.
So, a lot before the draft were people talking like, oh, like Cooper Flag, like he might be the best wing prospect since LeBron James, right? And he's come in and he's got the 40 before he turns 19. Just these different like accomplishments that LeBron was able to check off when he was young. But LeBron wasn't an all-star in year one. If Cooper can be an all-star in year one, that could be a real kind of like feather in his cap, if you will.
Yeah, no, right? 100%. We'll see how because I don't think he's going to get voted in, but we will see how the coaches view him and what they think about, like, because the one thing that we can say about Dallas is that their defense has been good for most of the year. Like they've been one of the better defenses this year. They're top 10 right now. But generally throughout the year, they've been like hovering around that like 5 to 10 range. And, a lot of that is based on what Cooper can do as a wing on that end of the court. So he's no slouch there. He is impacting the game in positive ways. So you never know. Sometimes those are things that coaches like, and they reward that in things like the All-Star game. So we could see it. We could see it. He's not out of the picture yet. Not at all. But
I mean, even if you look at Charlotte, like Khan's been the best player on that team, but LaMelo is just so popular.
Yeah,
like he'll get voted in because he's popular. Right?
Yeah, he's LaMelo.
Yeah, but Dallas, with AD being on the mend for so long, it's really allowed Cooper to kind of like put his stamp on the team and say like, hey, when you get back, I'm still a big part of this. When Kyrie gets back, he's feeding me.
I do kind of wish,
and you guys are going.
I do kind of wish that we did get to see Kyrie, AD, and Cooper healthy. Like that would have been something that would have been pretty intriguing, I think. Even with Ryan Nembhard's development over this year specifically. I mean, this is rookie year, so how he's played over the last couple months, like really finding himself. Brandon Williams, from the guard position, they seem to have figured some stuff out there. Still got Max over there. I think their team with Kyrie makes a lot more sense, and you can kind of see the vision that Nico was going for. I mean, not really, because you didn't know you're going to get Cooper. But since they got Cooper, you can kind of see what they're kind of going for with Kyrie, Cooper, AD, and having like role players around those guys. It would have been interesting to see this year how that would have all came together. I don't know if we're going to see it all come together, because for our last topic, we have AD trades. It was reported by I think it was Haynes or Stein. I think it was Haynes. Reported that it's not expected. It is expected that AD gets traded by the deadline. With that being said, where?
The exact same reporting is coming out for Trae Young as well, where it's like they look like they're ready for the divorce. He's gonna go somewhere. Where? Right? And with like Kyrie, right on the precipice of coming back to Dallas, does it even make sense to trade them for each other? Right? Like,
no, yeah.
You're just kind of clogging it up. Like it makes sense for Atlanta, right? They can just really lean into a defense first identity, and they can just be this big team that like really kind of wears on you, which would be great. It would be great for Atlanta, I think. But I don't think they get it done without Trae Young. And yeah, other than that, you know, like people talk about Chicago because he's from Chicago, but is he going to win them their play-in game? He might. He might actually win them the play-in game, you know. And they actually might go to the playoffs. The question is, who could use a big?
So there's a couple of teams I have here listed. We'll talk about the Hawks because I actually we have a trade built out for the Hawks, which I think is kind of interesting. But some of the teams that have been kind of rumors, like mildly rumored with AD, have been the Raptors, the Warriors, and the Heat. Of those three teams, I think the Warriors would be great for him. I think the Warriors would make them the most sense. Warriors have come out and said they're not really looking to trade Draymond, and I don't know why. He gets thrown out every game, and if he doesn't get thrown out, he puts himself on. He sends himself to the locker room. So I don't know. I don't know why they're holding. I know why. He's been a culture bearer for them. He's been Steph's guy, you know. So I know why they kind of want to keep him there for those reasons. But if AD's on the table and you're looking to make one last push with Steph, you kind of need Jimmy to do it. I don't know if you need Draymond to do it if you're getting an AD. So I think of those teams, I think Warriors would be one of my favorite fits for that. Just to see what these old three guys can do. Old, and this guy's younger than me, but old three guys can do together. And if they could put together another championship, because Steph with an elite big and an elite wing, two-way guys at that, is a scary sight, I would say.
Yeah,
that would be my favorite.
It's also an interesting thing. Like those are three teams. I don't think any of them would trade early, if you know what I mean. Like I think they would wait. They're going to wait for the best value, right? And if the value makes sense for one of those teams, they're going to pull the trigger, right? Because I had heard the Raptors rumors for AD, and you know, like Bobby Webster, basically the Raptors GM, basically said like, listen, like we're just looking for a better value. Like AD's a phenomenal player. We'd love to have him on our team, but it's not necessarily the best price, right? And it's not just acquisition price. It's that long-term price. Like Rich Paul is trying very hard to get AD a max extension, and I don't know. I don't know what team in the league would want to pay AD like $50-60 million until he's 36, 37.
Yeah, it's a difficult one with his health history and everything like that. Like, I don't know who's really taking that risk. Like maybe a Chicago, just because that's his hometown. They don't really got much else going on right now, so maybe they do something like that. But I find the fits hard. I think the Heat would have been an interesting one if they didn't have Ware. I think not that you would have to give up Ware to get an AD on the Heat. It's the fact that they've put a lot into developing Ware as a big next to Bam. And I don't know if you're going to take a step back to bring in AD, bringing Ware off the bench, if that's the best thing for the development of Ware for a player that I don't know if AD comes to the Heat and they're automatically an Eastern Conference contender. Like, I don't think he's that level of guy right now. So are you really doing that to set back Ware for a second round exit? I don't know. I don't know if that's really worth it for the Heat at this point. But
although a starting lineup of like AD at the 5, Bam at the 4, Wiggins at the 3, Norm Powell at the 2, and
Davion at the 1 is
Davion at the
madness.
1 with Tyler coming off the bench. Like,
is absolutely
that's
madness.
Actually a really scary lineup.
I think you would have to give up. You might have to give up Wiggins just because of money, but
Wiggins or Tyler. And which one would you want to give up?
I would trade Tyler because you have to pay him again. He's due for an extension, so I would move Tyler. I would move Tyler, and I would move Rozier's whatever his salary.
And it's basically a trade exception at this point.
I would move Tyler, and I'd move Terry and whatever a pick. They have a first to give, so a first for AD, and then if that is your lineup, AD, Bam, Wiggins, Norm, and Davion at the 1. I think That is a hard out. It is a hard out. It is a hard out. I don't know if it's better than. I'm really high on Philly for whatever reason. I'm super high on like what Philly can do when it comes playoff time, as long as Embiid is there. I don't know if it's better than Philly. I don't know if it's better than. I don't know. It's a tricky one. It would put them in the conversation as one of the best teams in the East. But I don't know if he's the guy to do it, because he just might break down. He just might break down when it comes to the playoff time.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Like, if you could somehow get AD without giving up Embiid, without giving up Maxey or Edgecombe, you've got McCain, you've got Grimes, you've got Paul George's contract. Like, if you could somehow flip Paul George for AD with whatever, sweetener you got to put in it, I mean, it is the most creaky front court.
The funniest thing ever. One of them will be only one of them is healthy at all times. Like, that's what's gonna be.
Well, it's funny. Like, if you watch Joel Embiid right now, like, he's putting up Joel Embiid numbers, and you're like, oh wow, he's like got a 30 and 12. Like, I wasn't expecting that, because if you watch him, he looks so slow and broken.
He looks so broken.
Right?
Every time he falls,
both of those guys,
that'd be just.
They would run into each other.
Just get hurt. Both of them would be out.
Both of them out. Careers, but they're both signed to long terms.
No, but it is an interesting question if like the Heat can acquire him for just like a Tyler Hero and stuff like that. Is I would wonder. I think the question that the front office would be weighing is, are we good enough to stifle Ware's development for a year or two, just to see if we can make a little run with AD at our AD and Bam, because it worked for the Team USA. That was the USA front court, and it did just fine. It looked good. Yeah. Bam shooting more threes. AD can shoot a three. Like they can spread the floor. Okay, you have Norm out there, Wiggins out there. Like two-way wise, that is a hard team to beat. All healthy, which would be an interesting one. But the trade that I think which I'd be most intrigued in, I think has potential in happening, because there has been rumors that the Hawks have been willing to listen to Recherche offers. So what if first Recherche and Kristaps Porzingis for Anthony Davis make any sense for both these teams? Because I think it somewhat does for these guys, if they're looking to unload somebody, if Dallas is truly looking to unload Anthony Davis.
So I think when you look at what talent can you acquire in return for AD, you're looking for that young player. You're looking for that young player with high upside. And Richeche might be the best player you get offered. First overall pick. He's kind of stuck behind Jalen Johnson. This would allow him a little bit more room to try things. Imagine, your wings are Cooper Flagg and Zachary Richeche. Like, that's with like Derek Lively when he comes back. That's a pretty cool front court. I don't see another team offering anything better than Richeche as an individual, like, young player prospect. Another team might come together with like more mid-age vets, a bunch of guys who are like 27, 28, kind of like the Heat's offer, right? Like, like maybe it really depends on what Dallas wants to do, right? Where Dallas thinks they are, because they're desperate to hold on to Kyrie. But if you're going to get rid of AD, why are you holding on to Kyrie? Why are you holding on to Clay?
Yeah, you got to get rid of it. Once Anthony Davis goes, then you might as well just do the full thing, just tear it all down.
Yeah, just go full young, right? And not Trae Young.
He's just trying to run away from that, apparently.
It's an interesting thing. What about AD to Minnesota for a Gobert-led trade?
I mean, I like that too. Like, I like him. I like the versatility that he provides. I think it would make more sense to move Randall, but I think Randall and Anthony Edwards have some weird, really good chemistry together that you don't really want to break it up. But I don't mind Minnesota, but yeah, if Randall was more expendable to them, I would 100% lead into that. But I don't know if he is as much. I like AD next to Gobert, because then you're not scoring ever. You're never scoring on that team.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. It's just, it's one of those things. I still think like Minnesota needs point guard play a lot more than like
bigs.
An upgrade a big. But there's stuff out there. A lot of it's going to come down to just price. And I think it's just a whole lot of GMs doing the Spider-Man meme of pointing at each other, like who's gonna pull the trigger, who's gonna start trade season, what's the prices gonna be this year. Like nobody wants to overpay, and nobody wants to, like, you don't want to shoot your shot for AD only to realize like Giannis is available at the deadline,
right?
You don't want to take on AD now only to find out that like 4 weeks from now you could get
Giannis actually tells his girlfriend he's going to break up with him until that moment actually happens. Because I think to be honest with the Heat's thinking too, I think that's part of it. They're heavily connected to that Giannis stuff. Giannis Bam share agent, they've notably always wanted this guy on their team, so I think they're holding out the possibility of sending Hero, Ware, and everything they can to get a Giannis. So I think that plays into it too. I think that's why we don't see an AD trade until we know for certain that Giannis is staying with the Bucks for the entirety of this year. But I think you've kind of talked me into AD coming to the Heat. I think you kind of have.
Yeah. I mean,
the East isn't scary. Like the thing about the East is good this year. It's better than it has been in the past. But top end talent does not scare me in the way that it has in the past. Like I think Boston was a lot more scarier than a lot of these teams were before. Cleveland's taken a step back. New York does not scare me when it comes to the playoffs. We've talked about why before. Detroit's young. You can kind of talk me into the Heat one present day, especially since the Heat have had their 2 best win streaks without Tyler Hero. Like both of their win streaks came when Tyler Hero was injured. So I think you'd be okay to move on from it.
Plus, okay, let's assume AD is healthy, right? And this isn't the issue looming over the head. AD healthy is a top 10 player. He is a superstar.
Yeah.
And the Heat currently lack a superstar. Right?
They need one of those.
Yeah, and if they got a superstar, they would transform into that team that, we were talking about earlier, that I want to see them go on a run, but it's got to be like a Cleveland Cavaliers, like, oh, we won 62 games out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And in doing that, they'll get the recognition. Spoelstra will get his award. Bam will get his award. AD will get clutch player of the year, whatever that award is. So it's that eternal like Miami kind of like thing where they're always just kind of like they're a superstar away, right? Like they had Wade for so long, they had the Heatles, they had Jimmy Butler when he was like at his best. They just kind of need one of these guys. And as a Raptors fan, like definitely need a number one, but like, yeah, it actually just makes too much sense for the Heat.
Yeah, kind of talk me. I'm mad that you kind of talked me into that, because I'm looking forward to AD and Broken Man on this team, but now I'm off.
But you'll have Ware to back him up when he goes down.
Then you have Ware, then he gets his development. There you go.
Right? Jaime Jaquez runs the bench.
He's been tremendous.
Right? I love that he looks like a pirate. Like
that's your.
I'm a big fan.
I mean, we didn't talk about.
He's my favorite Triple J.
Yeah, it's mine too. Mine too. We didn't talk about 6th man of the year this year, but I think he's pretty much he's got to be. I don't even know what the sports books are saying or anything like that, but he's got to be, if not the front runner for it, top 3 for it.
Yeah, because there's somebody. Who else? I want to say there's somebody else doing like the business off the bench right now.
Probably. There's always like Let's see. Let's go into it right now. Sports books. But anything else before we head out of here?
Not too much. Just we haven't had a trade this season, so I am kind of like waiting for trade season to kick off. I remember last year it kicked off pretty early. Yeah. And everybody was like, oh my, like trade season, like it's happening so early. Like, you know, look at when Luka got traded. Yeah. So this year there's been like a lot of chatter, like, oh, all these teams need to make these trades. But everyone's just kind of like waiting. They're waiting. Nobody wants to overpay. So it's been an interesting year. But yeah, that's kind of it right now. We're a little bit in the dog days.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this is the NBA Cup's over. We just had Christmas stuff, holiday season, and now we get like a little bit of a lull until the All-Star game. Yeah, and then things start to really pick up with teams trying to fight for position, and that gets super fun again. 6 man of the year, we have Nikhil, Anthony Black, and Hami. So that tracks. That makes sense to me. Anthony Black has had a really good year this year too. Nikhil
really good year.
But Nikhil's kind of started a little too much for my liking. Like he's actually started. Like he's been a starter for quite a bit of these games. I don't know if he should be a 6-man.
Well, and if they do end up trading Trey, is Nikhil your point guard?
He's your point guard.
He's been terrific.
Yeah, he's been pretty much their point guard. Or Dyson, they've been sharing point guard responsibilities anytime Trey's been out. So I don't know if he really counts. But Anthony Black has been certainly solid for the Magic. But that will do it for this episode of the NBA Hangout. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. You can follow us at the NBA Hangout on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be here, not every week, but we'll be here. You can
finally come to terms with that.
Yeah, you can find. Yeah, we're just too busy these days, man. You can find me at BJAY93_. You can find Dave here whenever we podcast. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Peace.